Hi, it's Trevor Leggett. Welcome to the Leggett Podcast. Whereabouts would you buy in France? This is what.
Well, I can tell you, Trevor. But, obviously, Leggett Mobilier is a national thing, so we travel around the country quite a lot.
Yeah, you and I go all over the place. Have to put up with your bloody driving. He's a maniac in the car.
I'm a great driver. I'm a great driver.
You're the worst driver I've ever known. Anyway,
where would I love to live the most? Well, that's a really difficult question, and we're going to cover all the regions, and this is what this podcast is all about. But I will say, wherever I go to, that includes Alps, Côte d'Azur, Brittany, wherever I go to, the Pyrenees, Provence, whenever I come back to the Sharon, it's the place that I'm most delighted to come back to in my life. Absolutely, exactly. So in answer to the question, where would I love to live the most? For me, home's where the heart is. But there's just so many options because France is a world in one.
You know what? The other day I was through a quote on that rally. I was going on the rally with those lads, and we went all around Europe. And it was a long old trip. We went right through. We came through France, Belgium, Luxembourg, back to France, into Germany, Switzerland, Austria, bloody hell. Went back to Italy, Slovenia, Croatia, and then back across through Venice and Lake Como and back across Switzerland. Anyway, I got home. Do you know what? I drove down the driveway and got home. I went, wow. Do you know what? There isn't a better place.
Right.
Nothing I'd seen was better.
Yeah.
But that's because it's home and we love it. I mean, if your home was in Brittany or your home was in Normandy, I think you'd love it just as much, probably. Yeah. It's also about, I think.
Yeah, they were certainly an option at the time when I was looking.
Yeah.
But for affordability, for way of life, etc., I chose here. But the thing that surprised me most, Trevor, is the fact that France literally is a world in one. Ski, sea,
ocean,
everything. Yeah, ocean. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. City life. Yeah. There's everything here. And at that time, Sharon pressed the right buttons for me. But we're all different.
I mean, it was governed for me by price as well to start with. But despite the fact it was governed by price, the people like a bit more activity and a bit more of a buzz and things going on. I get it why they prefer the Côte d'Azur. There's a lot more going on. It's busy and there's probably a more choice of restaurants and things.
Yeah, there are. Yeah.
I think it's quite a nice balance here as well because you can jump in the car in an hour and 40 minutes. I'm at the beach.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is not too bad for a weekend.
It's not bad.
As you know, we got a little place that we bought by the seaside a few years back.
Yeah.
We use it most weekends in the summer. It's great to have that change.
That's the West Atlantic coast, and that is only an hour.
My God, those beaches, honestly. I mean, I've been around the world quite a lot and travelled a lot, and I don't think I've ever seen better beaches anywhere, really. Well, maybe Mozambique. But other than that.
Yeah.
It is incredible. I mean, I still, when I go back to the UK, which, as you know, regularly I go back to the UK, go back to, I love my little place in the UK. It's a nice house, a nice area, but it's just sort of the same, is it? You do a week in the UK, you're so glad to get home.
Well, it's nice to have both, though.
It's nice to have both.
And many of the listeners, that's what their dream is. Many of them is to basically have a.
I mean, obviously, one of the big problems that people have had over the recent years since Brexit is this 90-day issue where they can only come out for 90 consecutive days and then have to go back. But more and more people have been saying that they're getting easily long-term visas. So it's just the paperwork. It's loosened it up. They're not being as strict as they were. And to be honest, I don't think I've ever heard of anybody actually getting told off for overstaying. Have you?
No, never heard it. But
I'm sure it's not allowed. No. But I just never heard of anybody actually getting in trouble for it so far. But if you love the mountains, obviously skiing's your thing. And we've got 38 guys now across the Alps. And how many stations on ski?
And some beautiful places where we're based: Courchevel, Val d'Isère. It's another world.
Even in the summer, it's stunning. When we go there in the summer, it's beautiful.
It's gorgeous, and you got all the different foods. You got all the melted cheeses, all the charcuterie and that there.
That's nice.
In the Alps. And there's a nice vibe there. There's a nice, healthy vibe.
Yeah, well, the air's good, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Taste it.
Absolutely. so it's always a pleasure to go there. I love the Côte d'Azur. Who wouldn't?
Yeah, it's a nice change. It wouldn't be my choice, but I can understand why people do.
I can see why.
The nice thing about the Côte d'Azur, do you know what it is?
What?
When you look at the Atlantic coast, is because it's all like the Alps and mountains by the sea.
Yeah.
You can be 10, 15k inland, you still got a sea view.
Yeah, I know.
And then you can get a sea view on the Côte d'Azur easy. If you're not on the Premier Lean on the Atlantic coast, you're not going to see
no view because it's flat.
Exactly.
Flattish. Yeah.
I mean, there are the odd bits, but not much. I mean, and the prices now, there's hardly any difference between frontline Atlantic coast and you know, I mean, it's not pied on low prices on Cap d'Antibes, Saint Jean de Cap Ferrat, of course, but there's not that big a difference in price anymore.
Well, no, and funny enough, about 10 years ago, one of our colleagues on the Côte d'Azur said to me, he said it's only a matter of time that West Coast Atlantic catches up with South Coast Mediterranean. Of course it is, yeah. But the Côte d'Azur is lovely. Yeah, a bit of glam, a bit of chic, a bit of Mediterranean.
I think if you want to show off in your flash car, it's better than running up and down the beach.
Provence is lovely, crikey. You know, you talk about lavender fields and that, and a bit more of an ancient vibe there in
That's
in
a
the
totally
Provence.
different thing altogether. Again, but it's not far from the sea. It's close to
absolutely.
Close to Aix-en-Provence.
Yeah.
And our office in Avignon. Avignon, beautiful city, isn't it?
Yeah.
What a beautiful place. It is, it's stunning. I mean, some of the properties, I had a look inside there, my God, they're gorgeous.
Yeah, they're lovely, aren't
they?
Yeah.
With the internal courtyards and the like. Oh.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, there's some great stuff around. I mean, whether it's like your old farmers' cottages on the North Finisterre. Have you been up there, the North Finisterre?
I have, yeah.
Oh, it's stunning.
The far northwest, yeah.
Up above Brest.
Very craggy, very Celtic.
Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
I only went up there about 2 years ago. I didn't even know it was there. Literally after 35 years of living in France.
Yeah.
Went up there I thought, well, I'll go and have a look. So it's like absolutely stunning.
Very Celtic, very lovely, and rugged. You know.
Central Brittany, still really good value for money.
Rennes a beautiful city inside central Rennes. But excellent value for money. Yeah. You know.
I mean, then they got, you know, as you're coming down now, we started selling quite a lot of properties, you know, like in the Loire Valley.
Loire Valley, yeah.
And the Loire Valley is something quite new to us, isn't it? It's only been, 5 years, 6 years?
Yep, 5, 6 years, exactly.
And the girls are doing great. You know, and again, there's really pretty white stone buildings in Touf and Angers, Saumur's pretty area.
Well, yeah, and in a previous podcast, she said, well, it's a people business. Well, all of the ladies there basically are locals now.
Yeah.
So they've got a passion for where they live and the property that they're selling. You know, and we've got down in the southwest corner of France, we've got probably 25% of our sales force. You know, in that area, and that provides excellent value.
And again, that's different. Again, I mean,
exactly.
You've got De Sèvres, which is quite flat, but it's nice because it's open. It's got big
some nice canals in it. Yeah.
You've got North Charente, which is obviously a lot cheaper than the south. You've got the valley of the Charente, which goes down through Cognac Saint out to the sea. Yeah. Which is a really lovely spot. And then you've got, like, obviously, as you're coming down here, where we are here in the Périgord Vert, where the head office is. He's gorgeous, but then you've got the Périgord Noir, which is considerably more rugged, and you know, the buildings change again. You've got peg-tile roofs with steep pitch roofs, and
it's a world in one. And
it's amazing how it changes, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
You go down the road like to sort of 60, 70 kilometres, and you've got completely different buildings.
Exactly.
You go to Limousin, and they're all built in granite.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful, and if you take from where we are now in Nouvelle-Aquitaine, at the Spanish border down to San Sebastian's like 3.5 hours in the car. It's easy.
Well, there's Gironde. I mean, there's always been, we've been based in Saint-Emilion now for 20 years. Yeah. And that area has always been really popular with Brits. I mean, Aimé is an enclave of British owners, and I mean, the village, you walk around.
Bastille Town, yeah, lovely.
Aimé, you know, and even here, close by here at Vertiac.
Vertiac's nice, yeah. But the frequency to the Spanish border was a big attraction to me.
Well, of course, Carcassonne.
Absolutely.
It's close to the Spanish border.
Absolutely.
Obviously,
2.5 away.
Catalonia.
Yeah, absolutely. And when people say it's a world in one, people think it's an exaggeration. It's not. You basically get what you want out of France. It's a continent in one for me.
And it is varied. But I think also what people look for is how accessible it is. So we've always said, we find people in Normandy and Brittany tend to come from the north of England. And people from the south tend to come a little bit further. People like to do a day's drive.
Journey time, absolutely.
It's journey time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nobody really wants to do a 2-day drive to get where they want to go.
No.
And I think a lot of the people chose southwest France because they can knock it off on an overnight ferry
From the home counties, no problem.
And you can be here in southwest France in what, 6 hours, 5-6 hours.
That's what we did, the 5 of us, when I brought the 3 kids down.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we did. We were from Surrey, so this is about as far as we made it. But it was perfect. But as you say,
Funny anyhow, that 2 hours does make a bit of difference.
Absolutely.
When you go Calais, because a couple of times in the winter time there haven't been so many boats running.
No.
So I've had to go to Calais and then get the tunnel through and go drive to London.
Yeah, it's a bit of a drive, that, isn't it?
Oh, it's a bit of a slap, isn't it?
It is. It is. Tiring.
Yeah. Or maybe we're just getting old. Well, do you know what? Like Joe's father used to do it until he was 83 years old, Eric. He used to drive the whole journey up until he was 83.
Crikey.
Oh man, he's over here now. He's 87. Do you know what? He moved over here last year, Dad.
Yeah.
He bloody well drives down the thing. He goes to the supermarket on his own, drives around. He's well chuffed. His logbook came through for his car now. He's got French plates on his car.
Oh, well, he's got one. Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. He's still got right-hand drive Skoda, but
you're talking about the centre of the country. If you think about the Croix, Limousin, areas like that, the agricultural land, etc. The value for money for the land and the buildings there is just absolutely incredible. Still, there's so many.
There's hardly any building land now at the moment, is there really?
No.
I mean, it won't be long before people start buying houses, knocking them down, and building a new one on the same plot.
No.
I've never understood why the planning regulations changed on that. Why they've been so restrictive.
No,
because when we got here, there were building plots everywhere. You could build almost anywhere anyway.
Anywhere.
But now it's got so strict.
Yeah, and but saying that, that brings renovated traditional property to the fore, I think.
We were saying in the last episode, renovated properties are such good value for
absolutely.
Money.
And in the Limousin, you can get them for €1,000 a square metre, if not cheaper, 800 to 1,000, depending on where it is. But it's an absolute buy, because if you get one of these properties, 3-4 bedrooms in the middle of an acre plot, plumb in the middle of an acre plot, that's
you'd never get planning permission to build there again.
Right,
not
there
in
you
a
go.
million years.
There you go. Yeah.
Absolutely no way.
A family home for between 80,000 and 130,000 euros in the Limousin and the Croix still. So it provides
How many
excellent.
properties you sold in Limousin in the last 12 months? Do you know?
12 months in the Limousin, 150.
That's not bad.
150.
And that's an area where really the demand has stayed quite strong.
Yeah, absolutely. It's traditionally it's a big British market there. Yeah. Excellent value for money. Countryside that you'd die for in the UK. That you won't be able to afford.
There's a lot of lakes.
You won't be able to afford. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, it's beautiful.
And it's green, lush country.
Absolutely. Good for the kids. Good for guys that like to fish and ride bikes. It's got everything to me. And I'm sorry to go back to value for money all the time. It's extremely affordable.
It is extremely
affordable.
Limoges Airport's pretty good as well for access to.
Limoges is great. Ryanair, etc.
Have they started flights again from Bergerac full on again, or is it still quiet? I don't know. I haven't really.
I don't know about that.
Bordeaux's back to normal, isn't it?
Bordeaux's back to normal. And saying that's a big growth area for us. We're just about to open an office there in Bordeaux.
Yeah, a new office there.
For international buyers. Bordeaux's beautiful. They call it Pussy Paris, don't they? Little Paris. Yeah. And it's absolutely gorgeous.
And prices there have dropped a little bit, but I think they're going to go any further. They went crazy, didn't they?
They overheated. They had just seen that before.
Yeah.
But Bordeaux's lovely, and as you said, Bordeaux's so close to the Atlantic coast. Yeah, well, you're beautiful beaches.
You're 35 minutes?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, 45 minutes from Lacanau. Yeah. You got everything there. An hour from Biscross.
I like the Charente-Maritime. Although it's flat, it's not as undulated countryside. It's even closer to the beach, which is nice. I mean, I grew up on the seaside, so it's quite nice to not be too far from the sea. Yeah, but in England, let's face it, you're never far from the sea, are you?
Yeah, and it's got a seaside sort of feel, especially La Rochelle. Yeah. It's a beautiful town.
I mean, we've been selling property in the Languedoc-Roussillon now for what, 20 years as well.
Yeah.
And a completely different vibe, isn't it?
Definitely. It's
a drier, arid place, but at the same time, it's really pretty.
Wine-making country. It's beautiful, isn't it?
Well, you know, the wine there is better, I think, than Bordeaux these days.
Well, yeah.
It's better value for money, and some of the winemakers that have gone down there have taken some of the savoir-faire Bordelais.
The Corbière groves, absolutely.
Amazing wine.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. And Carcassonne's beautiful. That's a UNESCO site. You know, everybody loves the look of it. You got Castle Naudry. Oh, we've gone a bit further, haven't we, into the Hérault and Pyrénées Orientales on the coast as well.
No, that's been quite successful. Good properties, reasonable price.
Absolutely. I was going to say, provides excellent value for money, Trev.
Yeah. And British clients don't tend to buy a lot in Paris, do they? We don't get a lot. It's mainly Americans, and
absolutely.
You know, it's incredible how many Americans do buy in Paris. I
was saying that you've got an office there, and it's growing, Paris.
Yeah.
You know, and you're about to get another. So,
no, it's looking good. I mean, the girls are doing some good business.
Yeah. But the heartland, Dordogne, Normandy, Brittany, for British buyers, still really, really strong.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Périgord Noir has always been, hasn't it?
Yeah.
The stronghold.
Sarlat is beautiful.
I mean, what everybody refers to as Dordogne share is the Périgord Noir.
Absolutely.
I mean, everybody that's lived. I mean, when I first came here years and years ago, the Charron, there was a guy here years ago called Peter Taylor, and I remember never forgetting, bless him. I don't even know if he's still alive, but Peter, he was a bit of a character. He said to me he'd sold 500 properties, and he sold most of them between 15 and 30,000 quid at the time.
Yeah. Wow.
150 to 300,000 francs. Yeah, remember the franc?
Yeah.
And he sold 500 of them. And most of these things were like rumbled down old cottages that are now nice, restored, farmhouses. But I mean, in those days, what they used to do, I mean, the farmer would say, he'd look at his pile of rubble that he'd lived in for years and grown up with his mum and dad on a mud floor, because quite often it was what they call
I've seen that many times, yeah.
And we used to go there, I can't have a look, because I used to renovate them in them days. I had a building company. So I went in there with the building company, and we'd go and look at them, and the people would be sitting in there, and it was like going back to the Middle Ages. I mean, there'd be like bottles of 3-star, you know, the old bottles of the wine bottles with the 3 stars on them. You used to get €1 back, you used to get a franc back for the bottle. And I don't know if you're funny, they used to drink the bottle of red wine, chuck it out the door in a pile, until there was a massive pile of bottles, and then take them back down to the shop and get the refund on them, and come back with a crate full, and literally a crate full of these 1 litre bottles with these. And you go around the house, and like some of the old boys are hilarious. I mean, the glass was red with red wine stains. The glass itself, it was never properly clean.
No.
And you drink your coffee in that as well. No. And your gnôle. Do you know what the gnôle is?
No,
but the gnôle is homemade eau de vie. It's completely
homemade eau de vie. I know what that is. Unfortunately, I've had the misfortune of trying that a couple of times.
They sell it all these places, and if they'd done well for themselves, the farmer, they'd knock it down, and build a bungalow next door, a concrete bungalow next door, for about 30 grand. You could build a bungalow in them days. So it's hilarious. So we started thinking, well, hang on a minute, don't knock it down. We can sell that for 15 to 20 grand. Or we'll buy it for 15, 20 grand, spend 10 grand on it and sell it for 50.
Yep.
And that's how we started. Yeah. Before we had the agency, buying these places, doing them up and knocking them out.
No. Yeah. And all these places have been renovated. The vast majority are sold back onto international clients, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, now these things are now £200,000 homes.
Yeah,
150, £200,000 homes.
Yeah.
You can imagine why they didn't want to stay in the place where they're growing up as kids, like with 4 beds in the same room with a fireplace and a table sat on the mud.
Well, and a tin bath in the middle of it.
Knock it down and build a nice new concrete bungalow.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. The consequence of that is that this well put together foreign property stock that was renovated by many British.
How many of those people have spent 300,000 on them? And then obviously they're quite often coming up for sale for less than. I mean, unfortunately, I'm probably guilty of it myself. I mean, if I ever tried to get back what you spent on the property, not, precious little chance. That's why
it's a passion.
Value for money.
But it's
most people don't regret it. Most people will say, "Well, I bought what I wanted.
Absolutely.
I lived in my home, and it's quality
followed my dream and I did it." Yeah.
It's about quality of life. It's not about. It's a lifestyle choice.
100%.
And that's why we did it. I mean, obviously, one of the other nice properties in the Alps is you don't have to be on the top of a mountain.
No.
You can be down in the valleys.
Yeah,
and if you're down in the valleys by a lake, I mean, we were the other day, I was over at, on my way back on that trip, funnily enough.
Yeah.
Went through, obviously, Lake Como, through Switzerland, down through, and Montreux, along the Swiss, along the banks of Lac Léman. I mean,
Lac Léman, yeah.
Wow. I mean, there are some amazing properties by lakes in France.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, wow. And arguably, you've got the water and you've got the mountains.
You've got the ski,
the Côte d'Azur's got that, but, it's kind of almost nicer, a lake, than the sea. And there's some good value for money. There's not all expensive. I mean, of course, Geneva's expensive.
Yeah.
Of course, But places like Aix-les-Bains.
Yeah.
It's incredibly good value for money. And
I think it's extremely good value.
Location.
There's good buys in every region.
Yeah.
And if you're on a bit more of a budget,
Well, that is up and coming, isn't it?
Well,
Besançon.
yeah, absolutely.
It's incredible value for money.
I think it's absolutely outstanding value.
Serre Chevalier.
Absolutely.
It does
Exactly, but like a lot of these places in all the regions that we've discussed, Trevor, it won't stay like that forever.
No.
So you need to get in at the ground floor, and that's and I know.
Where would you say the next best place is to buy per region? I don't know if we did the tour. Where would you think? I mean, I still think there's an awful lot of scope in North Finisterre, although house prices have gone up a lot. I think because there's such a limited supply of nice properties along that coast, that they will definitely go up, although we probably haven't got an awful lot of them for sale.
No.
But I would say that was a good spot.
Basse Normandy for me as well. I think that's. I wouldn't say it's undervalued. I think that's the wrong word, but I think there's real potential for capital growth in the.
It's also
in that
stunning.
area. Yeah, absolutely. And the Dordogne, the Charente, it's extremely affordable. Not all these, the Limousin. Not all these places stay affordable.
I mean, like you say the Dordogne, I think people realise is the Dordogne is a very different place from one side to another.
Well, it's the largest department in France.
The Périgord Vert, Périgord Pourpre, Périgord Blanc, and the Périgord Noir. 4 regions within a department.
Yeah, it's the biggest department.
And the department's as big as the southeast of England.
Absolutely.
One department.
Yeah. So people, when they say Dordogne,
it's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, Charente, you've got Charente Limousin, you've got Sud Charente and North Charente, you've got. It's a very different place from one side of the county to the other. So, top tip?
Top tip, explore. Nothing's perfect, so if you've got a wish list of 10 things, if you get 7, you've had a result.
Yeah.
And go for the areas that, in my view, are going to increase in capital value.
I wouldn't say that at all.
What would you say?
I would say forget about the money. Go with your heart.
You can go with your heart as well as your wallet.
Absolutely. If you can afford to. If you can afford to go with your heart,
and bring your wallet as well.
If it feels right, buy it. Anyway, that's enough for today, I think, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but as I say, a world in one, crikey.
Anyway, for any more help, just give us a call.
Yeah, please do.
Bye.
Bye.